Flowing dashboard is to have a convenient spot to have all of your information at your fingertips in one location. We have a number of different tools or gadgets available to you to allow these tools to be implemented into each of your dashboards. To start, I'm going to show you how to create a new dashboard hitting the plus button over on the right control panel. Here I can give it a dashboard name, and I will just give this a name of demo test and hit save. You can see now I have a second dashboard listed, and there is no limitation on the number of dashboards that you can have. Dashboards are related to your account only and are only shareable if you choose to share them. But to start off with, we'll start with a clean slate. With the icon on the far right, you can add a gadget. So here I'm going to show a quick way of adding 5 site gadgets. And the idea of the site gadget is to allow you to get your dashboard up and running quickly. The only information the site gadget needs from you is which site you want that gadget to go ahead and populate with. So I'm just going to go right down the list here and grab the top 5 sites to populate. So with that, you can see I already have data on my screen. All site gadgets are tied to level, velocity, and flow rate. You cannot change those, and if you do not have a velocity sensor here in Capitol Parkway, you can see velocity is just missing. So this is an ultrasonic sensor here, and there is no velocity information listed. Within each one of these data sets, though, I can click on it. I can choose which sensor I want if there are multiple sensors. So in Apple Tree here, I have a laser sensor as well as a surcharge sensor. If I want that surcharge sensor listed, I can select it, but because it's not underwater, there's no data there. And I can do that with the velocity, and if I had more than one flow rate, I could do it with the flow rate as well. In this particular site, I only have the one flow rate. Also listed on the site gadget in the lower left-hand corner is the date and timestamp of the last time the meter pushed in. To the right of that, I have my last battery voltage that was reported from the meter. That reported voltage is going to be set up in the meter, how often you have it being recorded and then pushed. So typically voltages are recorded every 24 hours. So this is my daily voltage and will be updated tomorrow when the next push comes in and that next reading comes in. So that's what's nice about the site gadget. I have a little quick information about the last time I pushed in, the battery voltage. And then if it is an alarm, moving on to that is the red hue around a couple of these site gadgets. If it's an alarm, it'll show red, and in the lower right-hand corner, you'll have a little alarm icon. Clicking on that icon allows me to go to the alarms, and if I do that, it will jump over to the list of all the alarms. But before I go ahead and go there, I also want to show the 3 dots in this gadget. I do have a few settings here I can change. I can choose how much data I want to appear in the gadget. By default, they're always the last 24 hours, but here I'll go ahead and pick a week, and it'll go ahead and update and show me a week's worth of data. As I move my mouse over the gadget, you can see it does have a time date stamp, along with a little pop-up that shows me what those values are in each one of those panes within the gadget. I can go ahead and go to the site property screen as well. That's going to be shown more over here in the site screen if you want to see that. And then I can graph from the site. What it will do is it will go ahead and create a graph for my Apple Tree site here with the level, velocity, and flow rate already pre-selected. What I'm going to do is, because I went ahead and made some changes to my dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and save those changes here. By doing that, now all the settings that I've updated here are here. So now if I want to leave the screen, it will allow me to go ahead and jump to those screens. So here I'm going to go ahead and jump to the site property screen, which is again going to be covered under the site screen. But if I go there, I can see all the information about the site. And again, we'll cover this more under the sites screen section. Additionally, if I want to go ahead and make a graph based upon that level, velocity, flow rate, I can choose graph from site. That then jumps me to the analysis screen, already applies the Apple Tree site name, as well as its level, velocity, and flow rate. So basically the exact same readings I saw on my dashboard gadget, it just created a graph with that same information. Now it does allow me to go ahead and tweak some settings, which will be covered more under the analysis video. But if I want to go ahead and create this graph, I could simply hit this button here, and it does create the graph. And now I have all my graphing information based upon that dashboard site gadget. Again, for more information about the analysis, please watch the analysis video. Back to the dashboard. I did want to show you the alarms. If I go to the alarm screen, I click on that. This is actually hidden under the alarms. Under the device itself. So if I go to sites and I was to go to that site, I have all that information under my events here as well. But these are shortcuts. And the idea is this gives me a shortcut. I can get right to my alarms. I can see what's going on. I have some level alarms going off here in my Apple Tree site. Okay, to continue on, you'll also notice that I have a site here with a yellow hue around it, actually a couple of them. What that means is these are sites that had failed to push in. Now, Capitol Parkway here has not pushed in some time, and that's by design here, so I can show what happens when a site does not push in. So it does show a yellow, and it does show me the last push time, which was quite some time ago. But when it did push in, what that last battery voltage was. But that's why there's no data inside the graph, because it has not pushed any data for some time. Now, downtown has up-to-date data. So it has returned to pushing, but it's basically allowing me to understand that I did miss a push from the last time I looked at it to now, and it's showing me that even though the site has regained communication and pushed that data in, the yellow hue is saying that I can investigate that. Okay, moving on to the next gadget, I'm going to talk about the graphing gadget. The graphing gadget allows one to go ahead and put any pre-made graph onto the dashboard. Now, the problem with the graphing gadget is you must make the graph first. If you've never made a graph, there's nothing to pull from. Where the site gadget doesn't need that. The site gadget simply needs to know what site you're working with, and that fills in the hard-coded level velocity flow rate for you, where a site gadget can have any mix match of any type of information. As an example, I will throw in this storm INI graph that I had previously made, and you can see I have a number of different types of pieces of information in here. On all the gadgets, I can expand them by grabbing a corner or side and dragging it outward. And so here again, I'm moving my mouse over it. I can actually highlight one of the panes that I'm working on to show that information. I can also use my mouse to zoom in and zoom out. I can also use it to drag over more data within the graph. Now again, this is just a quick view of that graph. If I really want to do some major investigation on something, I have the option to go to that graph by using the three dots. Now, I will point out that I made a change and I have not saved it. You can see that by having the save icon show back up. When I try to leave the area, it's going to warn me to say, you're about ready to leave the dashboard. I'm going to jump over to the analysis screen. Do you want to save your changes? So if I hit yes, it will go ahead and save the change and remove my little save icon. Now I'm free to go ahead and use this, and it will jump me to that screen. So now that I've jumped to the actual graph itself, I have a lot more tools that I can use than what I'm limited to on the dashboard. So it really is about having the right tool for the right job. Again, for more information on the analysis, please watch the analysis section. I want to point out that the graph gadget does not have the last push or its battery voltage listed in the corner like we do for the site gadget. The site gadget is very unique to just that single site you're choosing, where the graph gadget can have any type of information from multiple sites, mix matching, you can do calculated data sets, you can do INI, pretty much anything that you can graph in the analysis screen, we can now put here on the dashboard. And I can have any number of graphs that I have pre-made listed in here. So here I have a scatter plot. So now my scatter plot listed here. Now, to show you where all these graphs are made, that will be under the analysis screen. Go ahead and save my scatter plot change. When I go to the analysis screen, I'm just going to give you a quick view of all the graphs that I have already pre-made, and these are all now available to me within the dashboard. Now, these graphs that I'm showing here are only the ones I have made. If I want to see shared graphs, I can click on this button and I can see like my scatter plot, which was shared globally, as well as my INI study here. They are available to me because they are shared graphs. Again, more on that under the analysis screen. Okay, so that is the site gadgets and the graph gadgets. The next gadget I'd like to talk about is I'm going to jump down to the battery voltage gadget. What this allows me to do is I can now monitor all of my sites' battery voltages without having to run around and view each one of these battery voltage listings within the gadget. So I can go ahead and pick which sites I want to monitor. I can just choose all. And then I can also make this gadget longer so I can see more information on that. You can also move a gadget around by dragging the upper left-hand corner icon. Any one of these can be dragged once you're holding the mouse button down. You can move that around. I'm going to drag this down a little bit here and then make that a little bigger. And now I can see all of my sites under my battery voltage gadget. So here I have all my sites, and right now it's being sorted by site name alphabetically, but I can do that by voltage. So I can see what my lowest voltage sites are where I need to get out there and get batteries versus the highest voltage. Now I do have a few down here that don't have any voltages being recorded in their memory, and that's mainly because they're probably AC powered. So in this case, if I didn't want these listed here, Parkview, Plant, Rain Gauge, and the Vine Street, I can actually go in here and just go ahead and get rid of those. Go ahead and get rid of Parkview, Plant, Rain Gauge, and my Vine Street sites. Because they're AC powered, I don't need those listed in my battery voltages. So now I've got a running voltage here of all my sites. Now, if they are Dura trackers, we can also see where we have which battery bank voltages are in there. In this example here, I don't have any of those listed, but on yours, if you do have some Dura trackers, they would be listed here with a second, which bank of batteries that they're currently running at. Moving on, I've got an alarm gadget. Again, like the battery voltage gadget where I have to run around and look at all the sites to see them, I have them now in one place. The alarm gadget does the same thing. Instead of having 30, 40, maybe 100 sites listed running around looking for red hues, I can go ahead and tell this gadget to monitor all my sites. And now it will pop up all the sites that are currently in alarm. And you can see I have an apple tree and a Buck Road. I don't have Parkview listed here, but if I did, it would also be in red. If I wanted to have that listed up here really quick, I can simply hit this little icon over on the right, and it will actually make me a site gadget for that site, in this case, Parkview. So it went ahead and populated that on my dashboard for me. So it's just a quick shortcut. So if I didn't have that that gadget, I can click on that and get there. This is also a quick way of acknowledging and resolving your site alarms. Now I can go ahead and do that per gadget up here. I can click on it and I can acknowledge all the alarms for Buck Road. Another way of doing that is here in this gadget. I'll go ahead and show you how I do that. It's a two-step process to resolve or clear the alarm. The first thing you do is when you click on the little icon over on the left, it asks if you want to acknowledge them. And if you hit OK, it will now make that icon green. Again, this would have done the same thing if I would have hit the acknowledge button here. It would have also turned it green. Now you'll notice that the alarm has not cleared and the red has not gone away and has not left my list. The purpose of acknowledging an alarm is a communication within your network. Other users that have this gadget on their dashboard will now see that Buck Road is being investigated. Someone's acknowledged it and they're investigating the alarm. Perhaps it's a low voltage alarm, or maybe a dirty sensor alarm, or maybe there was an overflow situation. So what they can do by hitting that and acknowledging it, when you click on it, this acknowledge here, and you hit OK, it turns this green. Once it's green, that lets everybody know that you're looking into it. Once you have determined or fixed the situation, you can now resolve it by hitting it again, and with the resolve option now here and hitting OK, that will get rid of the alarm. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. And now Buck Road is removed from the list and it is no longer red. So those are the steps to clear the alarms from the dashboard. Again, you can use it from this option here to acknowledge it. and then resolve it. But the easiest way, I think, is within this this gadget here. You can see everything. If you had a lot of alarms and maybe something happened and you wanted to clear them all, there is a mass option to acknowledge all the alarms within the whole network, and then you can resolve all of them as well. And so if you ever get inundated with a ton of alarms and there's a reason for you to have to acknowledge all of them and resolve all of them, that is an option with the three dots. And in any case, with all our gadgets, you can delete a gadget. There's no fear of deleting a gadget. You're not getting rid of any data. You're simply getting rid of a tool that allows you to look at that data. So again, don't be fearful of deleting any type of these gadgets. It's just to clean up your dashboard. But again, you can arrange them by grabbing and moving them, changing their size, anything you see fit to make that work. You can go ahead and do that within your dashboard. Save my changes. Okay, the next gadget I want to show is the silent alarm gadget. This one is very similar to the alarm gadget. Now, I do want to point out the alarm gadget is getting their alarms based upon the alarm screen. And within the alarm screen, there are a number of different alarms that you can view. And I will cover this more under the alarm section, but there is a list of all the different types of history alarms here, but these are the settings. Under the alarm settings, these are the alarms that are being triggered to make those alarms on the dashboard go off. Again, for more information on the alarms and how they work, please watch the alarm section. Now, while the alarms are getting triggered from that alarm screen, the silent alarm is basically all based on any sites that have failed to push in within their time range. Now, those time ranges are by default 24 hours. To look or change that setting, you can simply click on the site name. I'm going to go ahead and save my changes here. I'm going to go ahead and click on the site name, and it will jump me to the screen that I need to look at to check that threshold. So under the General tab, you can see this one has not pushed in within a year and 10 days. My threshold is 1 day or 24 hours. Now I can do that with any one of my sites, but if I want a shortcut, I wanted to show you under Capitol Parkway. No, Capitol Parkway is the one I already showed you. I want to show you downtown. So downtown, it is receiving data. You can see here, it did push in 6 minutes ago. The point of having this still show yellow, as an example, downtown has data and is currently working. However, it has this yellow hue around it. So as kind of an analogy or a story to explain, why this is important. Imagine on Friday, your site is pushing in and you leave for the weekend. And on Friday night, it quits pushing. Maybe a car pulls over the antenna, over the manhole where the antenna is mounted, and completely blocks the signal. And that car sits there all day, Saturday and Sunday. And then Sunday afternoon, it drives away. Well, within that time, 24 hours has passed, and it did not push data in. So it's going to go ahead and trigger the yellow hue around it, and will be listed. Now, imagine Sunday afternoon, however, the car's moved away. It gets a signal. It pushes this data to the server. This meter knows it needs to push all that data that it has not been able to push in yet, and it catches up. And so as far as the server goes, all the data is there. Now, if you came in Monday morning and all the data was there was no data missing, you wouldn't even know that the site had failed to push in. So what we've done is we will have that go yellow to allow you to recognize the fact that even though I have data here, the yellow shows that since the last time I looked at it, in this example Friday, I did lose some pushes. So in that case, it is listed here, and I've gone ahead and already acknowledged it earlier. So if I go ahead and hit it again, it's just like the alarm gadget where I do have to hit it twice. So someone's already clicked on this and resolved it. I'm going to go ahead and or acknowledged it. I'm going to go ahead and resolve it now, hitting OK, and that will get rid of the green and the listing altogether, and you'll notice that now downtown is no longer yellow. Okay. The next gadget is the note gadget. Now, the note gadget allows you to put any type of notes, no limitation, anything you want in here. It could be field notes. It could be calibration notes. It could be anything. It could be instructions or directions on how to get to a site. As an example, I'm going to put this as, let's just put field checklist. Go ahead and edit that. I'm going to add batteries and a shovel. And then I want to show you that we can also use hyperlinks. So as an example, I'm going to put the name weather here. Up here in my toolbar, I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to type in weather. And here's my link in weather. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that URL, jump back over here, highlight the word weather. I'm going to use this hyperlink icon. And I'm going to paste my link in there and hit save. Now when I save this gadget, let me go ahead and close this tab. I can now click on this link and it will open up my tab where I'm at. This allows me to go ahead and see what my weather is going to be like that day. As an example, do I need a raincoat? Do I need to bring, the right tools or whatever the case is? Or maybe it's going to be cold that day. But the idea is I can put any type of hyperlink in here. If you have a network link, or maybe you check out equipment within your network, you can put the link there. It basically is just a quick way of maybe having a favorites panel. But again, you can put anything you want into the notepad. All right. Go ahead and save that. A new feature I want to show here is we now have this lock dashboard option. If you have all your dashboard set up the way you like it, and you do not want to mistakenly make any changes by accidentally grabbing and dragging things around or resizing them, you have the ability to lock the dashboard. By doing that, now I don't have any control to do any type of movements on my dashboard. This was a request made because people, I guess, were moving things around and they didn't realize they were doing that. And so this does lock in the information as far as the location, size, and whatnot. They'll still be updated as new data gets pushed in, but you will not be able to make any changes or, delete anything like that. You have to use the unlock in order to make any changes. By default, we do have it unlocked, so people aren't, frustrated with not being able to do anything when they very first log in. But for those who do want to lock the dashboard, we have that option for you. Okay, just making sure I got everything covered here. I covered the lock. The manage dashboards allows me to go ahead and manage all the dashboards. Now, this is a roles type situation. Currently, I am logged in as my water support group. This role has system admin. I can go ahead and look at all shared dashboards. So here is a dashboard shared, and I could delete that if I wanted to clean things up. Otherwise, my dashboards are listed here under my water support group. I have my home dashboard, my demo test dashboard, and I could edit their names, or I could even make them shareable if I wanted to go ahead and share this dashboard with other people. As an example, under this account here, the demo dashboard is shared. And so what that allows me to do by being shared is, as a user that didn't create that, I can go here to create a new dashboard, which I could pop a new name in here and I would be just fine. But if I want to go ahead and copy a shared dashboard from somebody else, I can checkbox this, and now I have a drop down of listing of all the shared dashboards. Now, the only shared dashboard here is this demo one that I showed you on the previous screen. Clicking on that allows me to pull it up, and it shows me who created it, when I created it. If I save it, now you can see I have that demo test dashboard, or I'm sorry, that demo dashboard now listed up here on my dashboard list. And these are the gadgets on that shared one. Now, to point out that sharing, I made a copy of that demo dashboard, just a copy. So now if I make changes to this and I add different gadgets to it, I am not affecting the original owner's dashboard, right? I just made a copy of that dashboard. And so therefore I can take like a head start from some work that they've done, and I can make it my own. And that is not affecting theirs at all. Now, if they go and change their demo dashboard some more, and I wanted a copy of that, I would need to go in and do it again. I would have to go in and make another copy of it, and then I would get those changes. But as of right now, it is just a copy of what he had when he, at his current state, even though he hasn't shared. Again, all dashboards are user specific, so you can have any number of dashboards you want up here. So I have my demo test that I've been making along here. I've got my home that I had made that was my very first one I made. And then I got the demo one that I had copied and actually even changed now by adding a graph gadget and moving the buck road down. So it's not an exact copy of the original, but the point is I can have any one of these dashboards and they are my own. This demo now is my own. If I wanted to change its name, I have the ability to do that by going over here to manage dashboards. And now that this one is my copy of demo and I didn't want it to be named that anymore, I could go in here and call it my demo. And so now I have my own. I've made it my own. Okay. With that, I am going to finish this screen with covering a few options in the upper right-hand corner. These are actually global settings across the board. These do not move depending on what screen you're on. Jobs basically shows any jobs that are working in the background or have been completed. This is a list of ongoing alarms that had happened. So I had some silent alarms coming in. So I basically have a historical list of data coming up, and it gives me all kinds of specific information. I can jump to that site by using this. Let's see, I can mark them all as red to clear this out if I wanted to. And finally, the help screen up here. There is a really nice help screen to click on here. This is basically your manual. From here, you can type in any type of information or jump. You can use a filter or jump to the screens that you want. So as an example, if I go to my user profile and go to roles, I have a list of all the roles, which I will cover more under the user screen. But this is a list of what those roles have the ability to. So this help screen is actually quite helpful. And I suggest you use this if you're looking for some information that you just can't quite find, or maybe just need a quick search for it. So that is very helpful. We also have a copy of the release notes. This gives you all the release notes of all the versions that we currently have. And we have a feedback option. The feedback option is very helpful to get a hold of us in the event you have a bug that you found and you want to get that to us, or you have a feature request. You have an idea of a cool tool that would be really nice if we would implement that. This allows you to go ahead and give us a quick summary of what you would like to see or the bug that you have found and give us some details. If you are on the page where the bug or the feature is to be created, you can include a screenshot for us also to help us view kind of, what your idea of where this issue is at or where you would like this new feature set for. Now, I will point out that we do have this information at the top here. This is for feedback or bugs that you have found that you want to report to us. This is not intended for us to report back to you. If you have an issue where you need us to contact you back, maybe it's a bug that you see but you can work around it, this is great for that. If it's a bug that you need to have worked on or need to make sure maybe you're just doing it wrong and maybe it's really not a bug and you just can't figure out how to do it, in that case we would ask you to go ahead and contact us at our email. For all international users, this would be the best way to get a hold of us because typically the hour changes and things like that. We do have a toll-free number here for our US and Canadian users, and this would allow you to go ahead and contact us directly via the phone system, and then anybody who answers the phone can help you work through your issue. So again, this is a great feedback option to give us information as far as something you found or something you would like. But it's really not a two-way communication where you need information back from us. These would be the better contact options. Finally, there is a quick shortcut to your profile up here for your profile and preferences, and you're able to log out. The profile and preferences are dug deeper within the user screen, so please see that video for more information there. And that concludes the dashboard training and information video.